Hey everyone, welcome. We are live with the StarCraft 2 AI Arena 2025 tournament. I say 2025 because I just worked out we didn't actually have one in 2024, but thanks to Probots for keeping the scene going in our absence. With me, we have Ketroc, our returning champion. Welcome. And
Hey guys.
Laughing
Oh yeah, I
Games.
am returning champion, even though it's
Yeah.
2 years ago. I forgot about that.
Yes, and Laughing Games joins us for the first time on the StarCraft 2 AI tournament. Welcome.
Oh,
And your
thank you so
cat
much.
has joined us as well.
Yes, yeah, the cat's here. No, I can't pick her up. She's wise to that one. We were doing a chat before we came in here, and I picked up the cat, and she was very, very annoyed by it. But she's now very annoyed with me. But oh well. It's always good to have cats on stream or other animals. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you two are both excited about the tournament. Which bots are you most excited to see?
Oh,
For
for
me,
me,
it's go ahead, Nathan.
um, for me, I'd say it's probably NegativeZero. At the same time, I'm also very excited to see your bot playing again, Ketroc, because I know both of those bots have got some updates, and it's been a while since they've got some updates.
Yeah, well, my update was mostly just to get it working again because it was busted for a long time. But yeah, we'll see if I get some time. I do have this grand plan that I've been trying to implement for a long time, and if I get some time, maybe I can get it going for this tournament.
Does it involve
But
side
yeah,
frames?
it's great to see NegativeZero back. I missed him when he left the scene. He was
Yeah.
he was by far the most challenging Protoss bot to try to get your bot to beat.
Oh, definitely. It's so good to see NegativeZero back as well. Let's take a look at what we've got coming today. First up, we have Dominion Dog against Sharpened Edge, two of our very oldest bots on the ladder. Then next up, we'll have NegativeZero versus a bot called One Test, which is another new bot which we've got. And then third up, BenBotBC versus Ketroc, your old nemesis. How are you feeling about that one?
Nemesis, no, that's my Java brother right there, my
Yeah,
Terran Java
yeah.
brother. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, our bots have always been about the same power level, but for some reason, head to head, my bot has always crushed BenBot. I don't think that's so much the case anymore. He beats most of my strategies, so this one's gonna be more up in the air.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll look forward to that.
We're going to have Zozo versus Sharkbot. Micro Machine, our grand old champion, versus Theo, another new bot. Cannonana against Tom Test, one I'm very excited to see actually. Tom has been very active in the scene. Oh god, I'm going to have to turn this off, aren't I? Cat is just just trying to bang at the side of me. Anyway, Cannonana, another one that is always comes. Xena versus 12 Pool. And last up, we're going to have Eris, the god of StarCraft 2 AI, versus Terrain, another new bot.
Another bot that's done a spin on the word Terran.
Yeah,
We had a veteran back in the day as well.
the Terran, yes.
I'm trying to figure out what the extra H is in Theo, if that stands for something, or if that's just a typo by Crip.
No, it's definitely not a
Is
typo.
that spelled? Okay, I wonder what it means.
Oh god. Sorry. Anyway, let's get into our games. First up, we're going to have Sharpened Edge versus Dominion Dog. All right, I will share my screen because I think we were testing this earlier, and hopefully you guys should be able to see that. If that's good.
Yeah, I can see that just fine.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, we are go. So I'll let you cast.
All right, so spawning in the left-hand side, we have the red Terran Dominion Dog, who's generic Begin Scout, apparently. And in the right-hand side, we have the blue Protoss Sharpened Edge. Quite possibly, I think, the oldest bot we have in this tournament. Maybe older than Micro Machine. I think he dates back to the old days. I think
Yeah,
there's
I
some tournaments
honestly,
in like Finland that had a really good prize pool that made a lot of bot authors exist, and that might have been I think that's where Tier started. Oh, Tier would be another one, I guess. And
yeah.
Sharpened Edge.
So Dominion Dog isn't currently active on the newer season of the preseason, is it?
I don't think so. It's only been out for a couple days. I know Fidelina kind of comes and goes with his passion to work on bots. He like disappeared for a year, then all of a sudden he came back hard and started really pushing updates. So,
as is the case with many bot authors, I was just pulling up their pages anyway to see when they were last updated. So, both of these bots, it's been since December since they've been updated. So, I don't think anyone's going to have like a killer strategy program to take out the other one. So I think it should be quite an even match here.
In terms of functionality, I don't think Sharpened Edge has been updated for a couple of years. He might like update like library versions and stuff just to keep the bot current, but if he's more, if he's working on something, he's probably working on the Sharpie framework. He's more helping the other bot authors than working on his own bot nowadays.
Yeah, and that framework, a lot of bots are built off that.
Yeah, if you want to get a really complex bot really fast, I think that's probably the best one to use. But there's some really good options for Python authors. The base framework is probably the best of the best of all the base frameworks because it has so much documentation and sample bots. So then there's now these Aries framework by Rasper, which is a really nice set of tools. And then the Sharpie framework as well. So I'm jealous.
Yeah,
there's a Java author.
Yeah, they really are some great frameworks from what I've seen and some of the bots that have been created off of them. Okay, so as far as this game goes, we don't have an expansion for Sharpened Edge. We have a Stargate on the way. Sharpened Edge is one of the bots that Tempest rushes, from what I recall. So we may be seeing that.
Yeah, I've definitely lost to his Tempest play before. We do see a pretty fast expand out of Dominion Dog. Forward bunker with the factory in front of the bunker. I actually kind of like that against bots. They'll probably end up putting a lot of damage into the factory when they try to break that front line instead of into the bunker. So,
yeah, that can definitely mess with pathing and stuff a little bit, particularly that tech lab poking out. So we'll see if that's a factor or not. In some of these bot games, I've realized when it comes to defending something like a Tempest Rush, like. The outcome can completely depend on the spawn of the map. Whether a bot's in the left or the right side, it's quite a big deal with bots, just from simple things like the add-ons, which direction they poke out.
Yeah, and coding against Tempests are really tough because they can shoot further than you can see. So
yeah,
they'll shoot you and then they disappear. And then depending on how your code is, you may not think the Tempest even exists there anymore. And then they shoot again and they come back, and then you can create, those wiggles you see in your units. Sometimes that's the cause of being shot from the fog of war.
Yeah, it's not one of those things that I envy you guys having to program against. That's for sure. And there we go. First Tempest on the way for Sharpened Edge. Corona boosting that out, so Dominion Dog is going to be facing the Tempest Rush. It already has a bunker up turret at the front, which should be very nice. And it's starting to pump bio, so in theory, everything looks all right for Dominion Dog, but as you said, the actual programming of unit movements against the Tempest could see things get a little bit tricky here.
Yeah, and like the bio right now is prioritizing Marauders and Concussive Shell, so trying to get unupgraded Marines underneath a Tempest that's doing microdwell is going to be very difficult, especially if terrain starts getting in the way.
Yeah, Dominion Dog, I believe it does have a scouting reaction to these Tempests, so we'll probably see a chat tag once that Tempest first rolls up. But I have cast games in, I think actually between these two, which it just didn't make Vikings, despite sort of saying it had that plan. So there's the chat tag. Early Protoss Tempest defends, so the bot authors have put in some work against this specific scenario. The Stalkers are immediately taken out as that Tempest has between the high and the low ground, messing with Dominion Dog.
The Marines are definitely confused on where they should be.
Yeah, I do like the fact that the Marauders and Siege Tank are just crossing the map, though. They don't shoot up, so they have better opportunity elsewhere. The Marines are getting damage done to the Tempest, which is having a hard time kiting. However, another Tempest shows up with a Zealot coming forward as well. Dominion Dog is producing a Cyclone and a Viking, which is good to see, as it fans out against that Zealot, though. But so far, no dead Tempest, 2 Marauders crossing the map.
Yeah, and the Marine count's almost gone. He didn't quite finish out that first Tempest despite getting it way out in the open. Cyclone might be able to help with a nice lock-on. These are the Cyclones from the previous patch, so they are like 7 lock-on range and much lower hit points than the current patch's one.
Yeah, and then they notably don't need a tech lab to be produced either.
Yeah, you build them a lot faster, they're cheaper, you could be reactored. There's a lot of advantages to these, but comparing one Cyclone to one Cyclone is definitely weaker than the current patch.
How are those Marauders got cleaned up on the other side of the map, it looks like, as Sharpened Edge took a natural base as well, so there's a bit of potential to macro out of this. Dominion Dog has produced a single Viking that, I mean, with Marine support, it may be able to actually catch the Tempest. The one in the upper left is still shooting that barracks, I believe, as well. But that other Tempest gets away once again, so these things are escape artists.
Yeah, 2 more Tempests arriving, but he is building 2 Vikings at a time. And like you said, with the Marines soaking up the shots, those Vikings are going to do very well. The problem here is the engagement angle. Like this map, I've had a lot of headaches on this map myself as an SC2 player. The fact that you can come, like, attack from behind like this is from the air is very difficult. So the Vikings are actually fighting on their own here.
Yeah, one of the Tempests does actually go down. The other one is 1 shot away from dying. And look at that. Another Tempest does go down as the Bio has a good catch. Dominion Dog seems to have done quite a good job defending this.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he was like losing like 20 Marines for every Tempest, but in the meantime, he's gotten up to 4 bases, and now he's got the army to really smash these Tempests if they're going to come in one at a time. Viking count is up to 4 with 2 more on the way, and a couple of Cyclones. Yeah, this is looking really nice for Dominion Dog.
Yeah, Sharpened Edge never really hit that snowball point where it was killing units as fast as they were coming out. Dominion Dog also getting a combat shield. Gives the Marines a little bit of extra HP. Yeah, really solid defense for Dominion Dog against this. Sharpened Edge is macroing behind this, getting out charge, producing more Tempest, and a 3rd Nexus is on the way. So having its own economy going, but the Protoss bot is definitely behind here.
Yeah, but like you said, the game not over. Like, he didn't stay on that one base forever, so Natural is fully saturated now with a 3rd base for the Protoss. Dominion Dog does struggle when it comes to like the late game. He's really good at like producing units. He's got really good early game strategies, but then when it comes to like, you know, getting 3/3 upgrades and being able to use late game spellcasters, sometimes he struggles a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely relied more so on having overwhelming economy and amount of units, not necessarily the quality. Always.
Of course, as I was like in the middle of that thought, I just suddenly remembered that Dominion Dog beat me in the late game and knocked me out of the last Pro Boss tournament, so his late game is actually probably not that bad anymore. I might be speaking on outdated info there.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can take down late game bots, that's for sure. We've got more orbital commands morphing for Dominion Dog, so it's going to have that extra mule money. If we look at its income, it's cruising over 3,500 minerals a minute, which is just a massive income compared to Sharpened Edge. And when you take into account that Sharpened Edge is only building Tempest and the odd charge lot here, it is in a world of trouble. Dominion Dog is moving out across the map now.
Yeah, half the army supply right now for Sharpened Edge, so. Vikings charging in, Stalkers trying to assist to keep those Tempests alive, and those Tempests need to live if there's any hope of surviving here.
Yeah, I don't think there is, though. As the Vikings close in on those Tempest, Dominion Dog just has so much stuff. Probes are being pulled into the fight for Sharpened Edge, but it's a bit of a futile effort as the Red Terran bot seems to handle that with ease once it made the initial defense. It wasn't really in a losing position, and Sharpened Edge seems pretty toast right now.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, I think we have it there with the fast forward. We know what that means.
Yeah.
So unless there's a crash, this game.
Unless there's a crash, which definitely is a factor in some of these bot games, but not. I don't really have any memories of Dominion Dog dropping the ball. So well done, Dominion Dog.
Yeah, great
GG.
work for Dominion Dog there. That's the first win in our tournament. But yeah, I did like the early Tempests from Sharpened Edge. I don't think he ever got them connected though. If you get like a bunch of Tempests in a huge ball, then you can just basically take out anything that comes, like you were saying, but it just never got to that point, unfortunately. But
Yeah, I mean, I actually thought it was looking pretty good there for Sharpened Edge. Just the fact he was able to constantly be picking off Marines, he didn't seem to lose a single Tempest for a very long time. But yeah, I guess like he never really got on top of the SCV line, so just the economy of two base didn't really matter. You can lose as many Marines as you want, as long as you're still pumping out more Marines and teching up to Vikings and Cyclones. It's only a matter of time.
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that terrain was causing him fits, especially when that Tempest was right between the high ground and low ground of the main base. Then Range are like running around to the ramp back and forth.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. All right, next up we have the return of NegativeZero. I'm so excited for this next one. I hope you guys are too.
Oh, absolutely. NegativeZero has just come back into the scene absolutely stomping, showing us that it was an incredible bot before it left the scene. And I do believe the bot author has been making some updates to it.
Yeah,
So
that's been
fixing any potential holes, and we'll see whether one test can cause what I think is safe to say would probably be an upset.
yes, pretty big upset at that. But we'll. All right, I think we are good to go.
Yeah, so spawning in the top left, we have NegativeZero, as we spoke of, the red Protoss. And in the bottom right, I believe in his very first tournament, we have the blue Protoss 1 test. So this will be great. NegativeZero's claim to fame is Hearthstone actually played NegativeZero with all 3 races. And he actually lost with his main race of Protoss against NegativeZero. So
Really?
Yeah.
I definitely have lost a game to NegativeZero as well. Not that I'm anywhere near the caliber player of Hearthstone, but it definitely can catch you by surprise, NegativeZero. Okay, so we have got one test, which is programmed in Python, I believe, last updated February 21st, 2025. And it's biography on AI Arena, test variant of one playing Protoss created using the Sharpie framework. So seeing the Sharpie framework programmed by 7. Well, the bot programmed by 7.
Oh, there you go. So Sharpened Edge lost his game, but he can take a little bit of credit if one test is able to pull this one off, I guess. Being the Sharpie framework author.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so one test getting a nice little look around the base. Not much going on, trying to take an early expand of himself. Mind me, the author of NegativeZero usually says in this matchup the first person to expand is the one who loses. So
Okay. That definitely can hold true in human PvPs as well. So
yeah. See if that's the case in this here. But yeah, 1 gate against 2, so definitely a much greedier build out of 1 test.
Mm-hmm. And
NegativeZero is actually chasing him with 2 probes, so that's a little bit of a hit to his own economy.
It is, yeah. I'm not sure how that happened, but they decide to take the fight and then start running all over the place. But that is interesting how it did pull 2 probes. One of them heads back into the main as it gets chased by the Zealot, will go down. So that's a nice pickoff for 1 test. The main concern for the blue Protoss bot that expanded, though, is that it will have to probably deal with NegativeZero's adepts, which I believe it's made 2 of so far.
Yeah, I can already see the shades on the mini map, so it's coming hard right now.
Those adepts from NegativeZero are absolute killers. It's just got such relentless adept micro, so we'll see if 1 test goes for a wall or anything to prevent a shade getting in. It does start to move out with a Stalker and a Zealot to sort of push those adepts back, force the shade, but it looks like they will make it into the main base. That is not good for the expanding blue Protoss. A Stalker is in position to start shooting away on these, but the adepts have already tossed out more shades to bounce towards the natural, and the damage has begun, and it may be a while before it ends. Looks like there's only 1 left inside the main base.
Yeah, it was very good damage. I think he killed maybe at least 5 probes there. But one test got a little bit lucky as well there. The fact that his stalkers were so far out positioned in the front, and then he spawned stalkers in the back, it actually trapped one of the adepts, and it picked up quickly. But more adepts have already arrived, and oh man, yeah, this damage is getting out of control at this point.
Yeah, this is the thing with NegativeZero. It just spams it spams out units, to put it bluntly, and it has a very good success rate with finding damage with them. Now, one test is not dead by any means, though. It does have that second Nexus up, so it is able to actually maintain a small worker lead, and it will be able to outproduce NegativeZero as far as workers are concerned. Army supply, though, NegativeZero does have a slight lead in units. I'm wondering if it's made immortals. Yeah, there's an immortal rolling on up.
Yeah, but right before that, I was looking good on this side of the map. Like, there's more stalkers over here than one test, but now with an immortal and another stalker arriving, yeah, the immortal's so good against stalkers. Immortal actually focusing the sentry though, which is interesting. The only unit that doesn't take bonus damage.
Yeah, one test is doing a great job microing back the injured units. However, it's at that point where all the units are pretty much one shot away now for one test. The second immortal rolls up for NegativeZero, and the blue Protoss bot is in a world of trouble as it loses all of its units pretty much. I think it's got one stalker out right now, and that stalker is a little bit aggressive as it walks out to its death. It would have been much better defending on that shield battery. Now probes are being pulled, but the author of NegativeZero may have been right. The bot to expand first loses, it seems.
Yeah, I think just losing too many probes in the early attack. If he didn't lose all of them, maybe he gets another gateway down and can produce enough units, but yeah. The only advantage to expand that quickly is the economy. And then when you lose that economy advantage from lost workers, you are pretty much dead, especially against a bot as strong as NegativeZero.
Yeah, NegativeZero's army control is pretty phenomenal, so it's very difficult to get one up on it as far as army positioning and just engagement. So well done by NegativeZero, showing us that it's as good as we think it is. One test, like, it did a pretty good job responding to everything for the most part, but once the immortal came out, it was just kind of game over.
Yeah, I mean, most bots' first tournament performance is rough, we'll say. So one test actually looked pretty solid there. Like, there's nothing like overwhelmingly bad about that bot. Like, it just kind of lost in the build order and lost to Superior Micro.
Yeah, no major holes or anything like that. It would be interesting. I know some Protoss bots in the PvP matchup are programmed to, say, throw down a pylon to block adepts getting into the main base.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have been a big improvement for one test, but that's a very matchup specific change. And like, it did an okay job defending regardless. Like, it chased down the adepts. It just took a bit. And yeah.
You know what bots could do really well, as well, since they have infinite micro, is you can use your own shades to block their shades going through the wall. And that's something that bots could do like perpetually.
That is something that bots are very good at.
Yeah, and you know, for a new bot like one test as well, it's very difficult to counter absolutely everything that comes at you, because we have so many different tactics on the ladder now with so many different bots that, you know, it's like you've just got to think of everything, and there's not enough hours in the day to program reactions for that. So, you know.
No, there isn't. Yeah. And so who do we have coming up next?
Next, it's a very exciting one, Ketroc. We've got your bot playing up against
Ketroc and
BenBotBC.
BenBotBC.
Yes.
Little TVT action.
Little TVT
All
action.
right.
This is going to be a fun one. I think they were quite close on the ranking. I think you were, what was it? BenBot was 5th, and you were sort of like 8th or 9th this year. So, yeah. So it's going to be a fun match. It's one we've seen a lot before, but it's evolved over time, I think. Definitely.
Yeah, that's for sure. BenBots is... He never does like huge changes in his bot, but his bot is always very slightly changing over time. So if you look at like a 2-month window, you never notice a difference, but if you look over a 2-year window, it's like, wow, it's completely different than 2 years ago. Even though there's it's very tiny, but very but the changes are coming all the time.
And even though he's called BenBotBC, there's not many battle cruisers now. Like he started off very battle cruiser heavy, and then he's gone
Yeah.
up and down over time. Um,
Yeah. I do like how he still makes PCs anyways, though, just because it's his name. It's
yes,
like,
Yeah,
you gotta
would
do it.
have to
Like
change
I
the
always have to
name.
make Ravens, even if I'm doing like a Cyclone build. There's gotta be Raven and all the turrets involved somehow.
yeah. Cyclones, Ravens, auto turrets is more your fare. All right, are you good to go? I will see if I can.
That's it.
I'm good to go.
Oh, one sec. All right, and we are going.
Okay.
Oops, forgot to load the stream. Okay, it's up in the top left. We have the blue Terran. It's me, and in the bottom right, the red Terran, BenBotBC. So yeah, this will be an interesting one. Historically, my bot has had the big advantage, but nowadays BenBot is actually a stronger bot, and he's also doing better against my bot on the ladder. So I think it's about 50-50, I would say.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I know BenBot does pick builds in regards to matchup success. Is that something that your bot does as well, as far as how it picks the build it's going to use?
Yeah, it tries like a certain amount of games for every build, and then it starts using those stats to decide which builds to use next.
Okay, yeah.
So it tries to select the highest, basically the highest win rate build, as long as I didn't lose with it last game. If I lost with it last game, then they'll switch it up to something else. Little proxy barracks coming out of BenBotBC here. This is something my bot either completely crushes or loses the game completely against. It
This is
all depends if he gets that bunker up or not.
Well, that's a good insight to have. So we'll watch for that. This strategy from BenBot is so strong as far as the amount of resources it has to commit to it. There's the first bunker on the way up. Is that a bunker going up for your bot on top of the bunker?
It looks like it's trying to be on top of the bunker.
So it's not going to get placed down over. And SCVs are getting pulled off the line, so that's what you need to do. However, they do go after the Marine, so looks like that bunker may get up. However, the Marine does get surrounded and killed. It's a race against time now as that SCV tries to put the finishing touches on that bunker, and it's so close it does finish up. And your bot retreats from that bunker, which does make sense because I was told this, or I read this in a comment, that bots can't easily tell whether a bunker is full or not, I believe. Is that the case?
Yeah, and my logic is very basic when it comes to like dealing with certain cheeses, because this is a very edge case, like getting a bunker in your natural. So I think I just have like a hard off switch of like try to defend unless the bunker finishes, in which case just give up. So
Yeah.
my give up is based on the bunker finishing. Even if he has no units there, my bot just isn't smart enough when it comes to this edge case.
Yeah, it does have a siege tank on the way though, which I assume is going to be used to clean out that bunker. So it'll take a bit to clean that up, but presumably it'll get cleaned out. Meanwhile, BenBot does have command center going up on its side of the map, a single Hellion being produced. I know sometimes BenBot rallies a tank over to join up with the bunker, but it rarely makes it before it's cleaned up, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And there actually isn't any tank on the way, so no need to worry about that.
So one of the more recent additions I did do with my bot was before I try to build this structure, I check the path to that location and see if the path is safe. So that is actually the reason why I'm not expanding right now. I think before my last update, my bot would have constantly been sending SCVs down, trying to build a command center in my natural and constantly dying to that bunker.
Well, that's a very good update.
Finding check, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good general thing to program into your bot, and probably applies to a lot of cases. So well done on that. And then yeah, double armories going up. So your bot seems like it's just trying to play just without the expansion as it fires up +1 armor. Has a cyclone on the way.
Yeah, it does have the ability to build in-base command centers, but I'm guessing it just really wants to build it at the natural. Maybe Yeah, I'll have to look into the logic on that one, but we're going to be stuck on one base for a while, which is not good because BenBotBC on the other side of the map is about half saturated on his natural already, and Ketroc hasn't even begun.
Yeah,
And will
that
Ketroc
is
ever push out is the question, because this is just going to stay like this unless he gets on the offense.
that is the question so far. Your bot, it does have the tank, so I mean, it's got the means to break out, but it's a completely different thing. Of the bot's going to do what it's programmed to do. So, what sort of conditions need to be met before your bot would push out, whether it to be an attack or to secure up the expansion?
Man, I don't even know. It could even be something like, let me establish 3 bases before I push out or something along those lines, which is going to be really bad. And if you look at the production
Okay.
tab, nothing's actually being produced.
Yeah.
Ketroc is supply blocked, so yeah, this bunker contained is totally crushed my bot. And that's,
Okay.
I guess, I haven't looked into it much, but I guess this is why, like, I instantly lose games against the bunker contained when it finishes. And it's funny how it all came down to a split second as well. If that SCV died a split second earlier and the bunker didn't complete, then he would have cleaned up and expanded.
Yeah, and this is the strength of this build from BenBot. Like, it's a fairly small commitment, but even a bot as good as yours, like, it's not an easy thing to program a response to. And the contain factor is just so strong because it's so difficult to program a response to like a bunker in your natural or something like that without just feeding SCVs into it, which your bot isn't doing. But yeah, CC on the high ground or something would definitely be a way to solve this. So maybe that's the next step. I don't know.
It's definitely hit a branch of my code that doesn't exist. So
yeah,
there's like the logic on when to attack, and there's a logic on how to defend a bunker, and then if I don't defend the bunker, then the attack never happens, and then it's just like one of those cases that
yeah. I guess now it's just
for.
I guess now it's just a matter of waiting till the external stimuli of BenBot potentially harasses or attacks with something to maybe break your bot out of this funk. If that will even happen or not. But there we go. BenBot's attacking. Look at that. 2 CCs immediately go up. So your bot awakes.
Still hasn't built a single unit though, or a supply depot.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's still in like, okay, at the beginning build order I have kind of hard coded just to to do it very precisely before it starts like generating its own build order from then on.
Yeah.
So the beginning build order probably relies on the command center for supply, and that's why I got stuck at 39 supply, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it's nice to see those command centers. If nothing else, they'll be very slowly building the supply depots.
Yeah, it will eventually break that 39 supply cap, and this is something that happens in bot matches fairly frequently. A bot will get stuck, but then the other bot will eventually attack on in, even if it takes quite a while, and it'll break the other bot out of the funk. That supply depot going down will not help the supply situation though, but 2 CCs should be enough to break it out of that. As hey, at least your bot's gonna have very good upgrades with 2-2 about to finish. So
2-2 for a single tank.
yep, that is just a strong tank with a lot of responsibility on it. One of those CCs will lift off. The tank tries to move down to the low ground, however, and BenBot doesn't have vision. The scan goes down.
So I think my bot, although it's not even shooting at the siege tanks.
Yeah,
I think it
guess
scans so that it can see the enemy siege tanks. Because right now I think those siege tanks are in range, but they're not
I
shooting.
think they are.
Yeah.
I guess not though. If BenBot's Marine didn't give vision, so they must just be out of range, like literally as close as it can get without being in range. I see your bot is realizing that natural is not a viable expansion as it floats towards a 3rd and a 4th base location. As a Viking on the way, upgrades are continuing to roll. It's a very, very difficult position for your bot, but hey, a Banshee shows up. That'll clean up those tanks.
That's weird. So my bot was definitely calculating the distance between those tanks, and that's why it was scanning. So, according to my bot, the calculation was that those bots are in range of each other.
It really seemed like it, but yeah, maybe there's some sort of something that interrupts that. I don't know whether it be like one of the tanks was on a plate or something, or who knows? I certainly don't.
Okay, well, BenBot got about a 9-minute head start, but it looks like Ketroc is completely snapped out of it now, and he does have 4 bases, so...
Yeah.
And BenBot's army supply, actually, it's 28. It's not huge.
No, it's BenBot, so it does tend to get leads with this bunker opening, but then it takes an incredibly long time to max out because it invests in things like planetaries. Building battle cruisers, of course, takes a long time. And then I don't think it generally attacks until it's at 200 supply, I want to say. So, like, your bot does have time, and it's being incredibly greedy with 4 command centers on the way, which is something that I love to see. Whereas BenBot is a little bit more methodical and takes 1 expansion at a time. So
Yes,
your bot is good.
It
Have
really
more
wants to
bases.
have
Yeah.
a gas-heavy composition, and it's been stuck on 2 gas for so long that it doesn't know what to do with its minerals. So whenever it doesn't know what to do with its minerals, it's like, okay, let's just start building command centers, I guess.
No, I think that that's a great approach. Like, it's in so many cases in these bot games, it's better to build an expansion than to not. Looks like that command center does get delayed. However, I imagine your bot will send out another SCV to resume that building. And I think I see one on the way over there. So,
This is actually
yeah.
really interesting. If my bot gets away with all these expansions, then he'll be in a great spot economically. And the only thing he had going for him in the early game was his upgrades, right? So big economy with 3/3 upgrades. Like all of a sudden, this game is looking not so over anymore.
Yeah, it's amazing. And this is one of the things about BenBot. Like, it does get leads with this build, but then it takes so long to build up, and it's rather passive in regards to how it macros. Like, it's not super greedy. It's building planetaries at most of its bases, so it misses out on some of that mule money too. So it's not the quickest build up as far as Terran bots are concerned. And yeah, your bot may have a chance here as it reaches 68 workers. Still building many more. Vikings are on the way, which is going to be important against the battle cruisers of BenBot. Can we see how many BCs are out presently? Is it just 2?
There's 3 building at the moment, so...
Okay, so 3 out with
3 out, 3
many
on the
more
way.
on the way.
Yeah. So the Viking count is at 1. So that's not great. I think my bot needs to see one of these battle cruisers before it really starts committing to the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, like, your bot still has a reasonable amount of time, though, because I believe BenBot waits till it's at 200 supply. And if it's building BCs, it's going to take forever to hit that supply count. We do have triple starport on the way for your bot as well. So that's going to allow lots of anti-air production as 3 Vikings are being made at a time. High-sec auto tracking on the turrets. Even if BenBot does go for an attack at some point, it's not like your bot's going to immediately die, because it's not like BenBot's going to be programmed just to go for the main base or anything like that. Yeah, we could have quite a ways to go in this game, I think.
Yeah, and even though my bot hasn't spotted a single BC yet, so it doesn't know what it's up against, it does... Oh my gosh, never mind. Okay, here it comes.
Where's that jump?
How many
Here we
Vikings
go.
are there?
Okay. Conditional Viking production started. We'll see if BenBot retreats with these Vikings, but there's Yamato cannons going down, Marines coming into the main base. The Vikings get a lot of damage done on one of those battle cruisers, and I think that's the upgrades really shining through for your bot. As what do these Vikings have? They've got +2 attack, +2 armor. That defense went incredibly well so far as 2 of those battle cruisers die.
So here's a funny thing with my bots. So my bot's very... it really wants to defend its main base, but once the enemy unit leaves the main base, it doesn't care about it anymore. So just the fact that those BCs moved away from my high ground to my main base, my bot doesn't care that they're there.
And those BCs will just chill there until they have teleport. Then they'll teleport back to BenBot's main base, most likely.
I think they actually attack for a second time, and then they teleport back when they get low.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the way they coded it, at least way back in the day. That's how he did it. We've got a pretty big engagement going on in the middle there. Looks like BenBot got pushed away again with his battle cruisers.
Yeah, how many Vikings does BenBot have? It's building its own to support the BCs, and you are absolutely right about that second move-in. However, your bot built turrets, which is definitely helping to defend against this. So those BCs, they go back in, but they don't get too much done. BenBot is now going to have to wait for those to be repaired. We've got turrets being repaired by the SCVs at your at this expansion. Yamato Cannon does deal with that though. And did that Yamato Cannon one-shot the turret? Is this free? Like, I know there was a change to reduce the damage of Yamato Cannon. Is that in effect in this version, or?
So a turret is left with 10 hit points after Yamato.
Oh, okay.
So the fact that it was already under attack, like if 10 hit points are missing when the Yamato hits, which is obviously what happened, then it gets one shot.
Yeah. Okay.
As a human player, you have to repair
know.
quick too, because even if it's full health, it'll burn down in about 5 seconds after the initial Yamato hit.
Now we've got your bot with an almost unholy amount of Vikings, as it makes 8 at a time. I don't know how many it has, but it's got to be really getting up there. And that's definitely what it needs against this air-based composition. Vikings are engaging against the Vikings of BenBot. Battlecruisers tossing out Yamato cannons. However, it does seem that there is plenty of Vikings for your bot in order to hold the line on this for now. Cyclones on the ground as well. Prime Yamato cannon targets for the battlecruisers.
One thing I've noticed is that Vikings are not locking on to the BCs. It looks like they think they're locked on. Never mind, that one locked on. Not sure. Maybe my bot doesn't understand the new cooldowns of the lock on or something. I'll have to look into that one. But yeah, a lot of pressure here from BenBot, attacking in many different places.
Sorry, were you talking about the Vikings or the Cyclones?
Yeah, the Cyclones were like hanging out in lock-on range of the BCs, but the lock-on wasn't actually connecting. They're just sitting there, like thinking that they're locked down, but they weren't.
Yeah, that's definitely a bug I noticed. I have a video of that going up on my channel probably in like a couple weeks. So I imagine you might have fixed that by then, but we'll see. Cyclones can definitely be a tricky thing to program from what I've seen. We've got BenBot continuously trying to expand as it floats those CCs around, but your bot definitely has a base lead right now, and it seems to be getting the efficiency lead with just this mass Viking, destroying Vikings, destroying battle cruisers for BenBot. Like, what is the... Could we see the unit count and then the resources lost count? That would be great to see. So 33 Vikings, resources lost. Your bot is absolutely crushing BenBot right now, as the pooling of the units is way better, whereas BenBot tends to sort of do these trickle fights, relying on getting the BCs to teleport home and repair to get efficiency, but it doesn't work when you're up against 33 Vikings.
Yeah, it's at the point now where they can actually one-shot battlecruisers.
Yeah, tanks pushing forward as well, starting to siege away on this planetary. BenBot can absolutely not afford to lose a base. In fact, it needs to be killing bases, but your bot seems to have kind of checkmated it. Mass Vikings beats fewer number of Vikings and battle cruisers, so.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen in the past where BenBot gets a lot of Vikings of his own, so then his BCs kind of tank while his Vikings clean up my Vikings.
Yeah,
but I think he's just a little too far behind on the air war right now, and it's just every battle's going too poorly for BenBot.
Yeah, it does seem to be that way. Like, your Vikings are all grouped up, just annihilating the odd unit that walks forward. BenBot definitely would need to pool to a much higher supply to take the fight that it needs. Banshee's shooting away at the planetary despite the SCV repair. There's no turrets to support it, so the planetary falls. BenBot's rallying out Vikings, but all in all, it seems like your bot is making quite a comeback from that starting freeze that it had.
Yeah, I mean, probably wasn't intended, but that throwing down that 5 command centers was turned out really well against the bot to gave me the time to survive, I guess.
Yeah, mass expansions is definitely the way to go against BenBot, as it does take so long to build up an attack that you can get away with such greed like that, and it definitely worked out. As BenBot, it's just still rallying units forward, losing them. A battlecruiser barely escapes before the Vikings volley it down. We've also got Banshees being produced by your bot, which I know is something that it tends to make use of quite often, and is now even engaging that turret to target that down, which is very cool programming, as Banshees attacking turrets is not a good dynamic for the Banshees usually.
Yeah, it usually waits till it thinks it has enough, but it's usually not smart enough when it comes to like SCVs repairing the turret, so they'll all just commit suicide against the turret that's being repaired. Same thing with like trying to focus down a cannon when the battery overcharge is active.
Yes.
It's like, I can take out a cannon with 4 Banshees. And it's like, yeah, normally you can, but not when it's being overcharged.
Okay, Vikings for BenBot, not shooting, staying out of range while a few more of them get picked off. But then he was waiting for the battlecruiser seemingly to go in, but battlecruiser barely escapes. There's still simply not enough Vikings for BenBot in order to make any stand against the mass Vikings of your bot. BenBot's falling down in supply, and there's really no light at the end of the tunnel, as it's more likely to lose another base than take another one. Your bot has expanded to the base that it killed. Yeah, there's really no way for BenBot to win this game at this point.
Yeah, he's trying to expand. He's like sending command centers over already taken bases, but oh, this is going to be a fast dead command center.
Yeah, that is one of the things that I do like about BenBot, how it will continuously float the command centers around. It looks a little goofy at times, but it does continuously try to re-expand just 1 CC at a time, but in this case it's just not happening.
Yeah, that'll probably be the next thing I work on though, is like looking at these cyclones. Every time I see them, I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, I can send you like unlist the video or whatever that I cast of it. It's definitely quite a bug against Tempest as well, from what I've seen.
Like that one looks fine. It's locked on, staying out of PF range. I think it has the wrong value for the cooldown on the lock-on, is my guess.
Okay.
Because that value has changed so many times through all the patches that I think I just don't have it up to date. Anyways, something to look at, as this game is, I would say, slowly wrapping up at this point. The bank for BenBot is now gone, so his ability to stay at max supply is gone. And now it's just like Alamo for BenBot. How long can he hold on for before it's all over?
Yep, at this point, BenBot is pretty much hoping for a crash or for your bot to freeze again, but I don't think that's too likely, so it's not looking too good for BenBot.
Oh, maybe we'll get the, if this takes a long time, maybe we'll get like the Manor Mules out of Ketroc, where I started like spelling things on the map.
Oh yeah, it already did say
there it is, there it is,
yeah,
the center of the map. See the heart?
A little heart.
It changes too.
How do you go about programming something like that?
Well, that's the, you gotta take advantage of individual unit micro there. I don't know, just kind of like created a grid and then placing things in the grid.
Oh,
you got
okay,
any
cool.
ideas for like a 24-bit picture?
Okay, yeah, that's what I was
or 24
wondering. As far
pixel
as,
picture, I guess.
As far as the image and stuff goes, that's very cool. Banshees kill the turret, leaving the planetary undefended. Does BenBot have tanks caught in the main?
Oh, if he does, that would be sad. They might have been there all game.
I think it does, yeah. That is wildly...
Oh, that's rough. Yeah, because my bot's tanks have been almost uncontested for such a long time this game.
Oh, yeah. If there was a tank there since the start of the game or something, that absolutely could have been something pivotal.
Yeah, especially if that happened when he already had me contained, because that he might have been able to win before any of this ever even started.
Yeah, that would almost be worth like rewinding to get a glimpse at. I'm not sure if we'll do that or not, but that is something that I think has happened to BenBot in the past, tanks getting caught in the main, and it's probably that natural wall, I think, that caused it, as the tanks, they're just trying to siege up, but they can't get through, and...
Yeah, there's like 2 bunkers in the turret or something that has space to let small units through, but not...
Yeah, that other tank siege.
Oh no, it's that tank! Yeah, that tank is actually blocking them. If he unsieges that tank, then the ones in his main get out. So I don't think it's blocked it the whole game. That's probably something that just recently happened.
I didn't know StarCraft 2 pathing. Well, BenBot places a tank there fairly early at its natural sometimes with the 2 bunkers, so could have been there a while.
Yeah, it's weird. Like a sieged up tank is actually like a structure. Like even Colossus can't walk over a sieged up tank.
I was gonna say, because like usually units will try and pad up to a unit that's blocking something, but yeah, the tank actually just makes, because like if it was like another unit or something, the tanks would actually pad into that unit. But since it's a tank, they just siege up right in the main base, which is interesting, if that's what you're saying. Anyway, GG.
Yeah,
Well
GG.
done.
Yeah.
We can actually go back and take a quick look at that because it's interesting to see when that tank actually got stuck. Hold on one sec.
Yeah, let's do that if we can. I think that would be great
Well,
to
like,
see.
you know, when you try to send an SCV up the ramp, but the ramp is covered, and the SCV will just like run into a random corner instead.
Yeah.
I think that's what was
Mhm.
going on with the siege tanks there.
Oh, I do
They
have
probably
to.
wanted to go out to like some 5th base or something, and then they just go to the closest point,
Yeah.
which is like that corner of the main.
I do have to apologise. We missed the first minute or two of that game because, well, they got a corner of that game on the first minute or two because we forgot to swap out the thing. But yeah.
Oh, oops. I even actually have it
That's
up on my
okay.
second monitor. I didn't even